Eryk, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to me. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
That's fine, thank you. We should probably be talking about your outcome of your fight on April 11th, but obviously that didn't go ahead. Um, Kind of talk me through the whole process behind the cancellation of your fight and when you first kind of heard about the news that your fight would be in jeopardy.
Um, Man, I think I was down in Vegas doing a little bit of training, and they canceled the Columbus card. Then they canceled the Portland card shortly after. And it's just one of those things. Go for it. It's just one of those things that are out of your control, so you really can't worry about it too much, and you just gotta, you know, worry about the things you can control.
And you were supposed to face Krzysztof Jotko, who obviously doesn't live in the US. He's from outside of the US. So, what's the kind of what's the situation with that? Are you trying to get a fight rebooked at the moment, or where are you at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, he lives and trains in Florida. Well, I don't know if he lives there, but he's in Florida. And man, I don't know when we're gonna fight again, man. Or but I know we're both getting ready. Uh, I'm sure he's training. I think the state of Florida is a little bit ahead of everybody else in terms of allowing people back into gyms and whatnot. But here in Alabama, we just kind of train under the cover of night. Kind of sneaking in like ninjas and training when nobody's looking. So. Man, I'm in shape. I'm ready to go. I know Dana White just announced 3 cards for next month. So if my number is called, then we'll get it on them.
Okay, so you haven't at the moment you haven't been offered anything because obviously there have been other fights from your card and other cards that were cancelled that have gone on to the upcoming card on the 9th of May. Have you haven't heard anything yet or been offered anything?
Nah, nah, nah. I don't think so. So, but hopefully it'll be one of those 3 cards.
Okay, cool. And what would be the journey like for you? Obviously, going to Florida, how easy is that for you?
I'm right here in Alabama, so it ain't nothing but getting on the plane to me. If it's close enough, I guess I could drive, but um, man, it's whatever. They say we're gonna fight, then I'll get on a plane, I'll travel, I'll go everywhere they say we're gonna fight. Location, I think has the least to do with, how the fight, what happens in the fight. So if they say we're going to Mars, we're going to Mars. If they say we're going to Fight Island, we're going to Fight Island. If they say we're going to Florida, we're going to Florida. So wherever they tell me.
So, what do you think about Fight Island then? You think that's going to happen, and would that interest you?
Man, I think there's a lot of obstacles to overcome, but I think if there is a person to get something like that done, it's Dana White. I think the biggest issue is, man, I think they need like medical equipment and stuff. When guys and girls get knocked out or take that head trauma, is go get an X-ray or whatever. How am I gonna get an X-ray if we're on a secluded island or whatever? So I think that's the biggest obstacle that they have to overcome. But like I said, Dana's the guy to get it done.
What's your overall opinion on fights going ahead during the pandemic? What's your kind of opinion on it?
Man, I was down. I would have gotten on the plane. I would have traveled. I would have took some risks. Whatever. I think I'm, young. So even if I did get it, I'd, probably recover pretty well and just be sick for 2 weeks. So, you know, whatever.
What What did you think about Lyman Good? Obviously, he came out saying that he did actually test positive for COVID-19. Did you hear about that news? And what did you think about that? Obviously, that was the reason why he had to pull out of UFC 249.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's highly contagious. So if you got it, the whole point of no spectators, no fans, and limited crew is to limit you know, the chance of it spreading it to somebody else. So if you got it, just wait it out, stay in the house or in quarantine or wherever they got you. I don't really know how they handle that, but it's whatever.
Yeah, and you obviously mentioned just a minute ago that you have been kind of sneaking out at night to do some training. What has that been looking like? What have you been able to do, and how does that differ from what you normally do?
Man, my training schedule really hasn't varied. Really the only thing that changes is like the time, but like the frequency and how often and the kind of training that I'm getting is still the same. Me and Walt Harris are both, getting prepared and getting ready, hoping that we can get a fight before the, I guess, the 16th, before the 16th of May.
Okay. So you would be ready to go if they called you tomorrow and said, offered you one of those dates?
Yeah, as always, anytime they call, I always say yes. I always sign. I always show up.
Yeah. And what do you think your future is? Obviously, you've had some fights at light heavyweight, back to middleweight. Where do you think your future lies? Is it with middleweight?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, I think middleweight works best for me. I don't think there's too much of a speed difference between the two, and they don't hit as hard. So if I get to pick, then yeah, I'm gonna go against the guys that are, don't hit as hard.
Former champion Robert came out recently. I don't know if you saw today that he revealed kind of the mental struggles that he's been going through as to why he's Whittaker, why he's had such time away from the sport. Have you read about that at all?
Yeah, I read a little snippets. I haven't read a full article or whatever, but yeah, man, it's a very mentally draining sport. A lot of ups, lots of downs. I'm sure he's got some family issues and stuff going on. I heard about him having to give his daughter bone marrow, and he's had his own injuries and stuff. All these things take a toll on you mentally, and even the strongest person, needs time to take a step back, be with his family, breathe a little bit, and not even have to think about. It's probably more stressful being the champ, defending your belt, and then losing your belt. And, I'm sure he's just got a lot of mental things going on there. He just needs to sit down for a second, drink a beer, relax, play with his kids, and have some fun.
Yeah. How much of a role does that kind of mental, taking care of your mental well-being, how much of a big part does that play for you and for other athletes competing at such a high level?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely necessary. After I get done fighting, if we can, we like to take, the kids on a vacation or whatever, so, or go travel or go do something and, eat, have fun, don't even think about fighting, relax. And then you can kind of get back into the mix, at your own pace. But I think it's good to just, I think it's cool about MMA that regardless of the outcome of your fight, you can take as much time as you need to kind of bounce back and, recover mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Yeah. And you said obviously middleweight is where you want to stay. How long do you think it would take you to get up there in the mix? How many fights do you think that would take?
I don't know. It depends what fights get offered to me, where they're at that point. I don't have a crystal ball, but, I still got, plenty of fights left in me. So, if I take the long road or I get the short route, then, whatever, I'm ready to get there.
Yeah. And Israel Adesanya, the current champ, he's been going back and forth a lot with John Jones and Tyron Woodley as well recently. What do you think about him as a champ, and how long do you think he will stay on the top spot?
In the middleweight division, man, I think he'll be there for a while, man. He's very, fight savvy and smart, and, finds a way to win. I think it's going to be really, really hard, and he's already shown, even, through the Gastelum fight. In the 5th round, man, he's still going to be around, and he's going to will himself to win the fight. So, man, I think that's a guy you have to finish him. I think if it goes to a decision, he's going to find a way to figure it out and win.
Okay, and then finally, obviously, if your fight with Jotko does materialize soon, how do you think that goes down?
Man, I definitely see myself getting my hand raised, probably finishing him, especially if we're in a smaller cage. It kind of entices the fight a little bit more. There's not as much space to dance and move, so we'll be right on top of each other. So I trust my cardio. I know my cardio is good, and I can go for 15 minutes and longer if necessary. So, I'm going there and give him hell.
How do you imagine it to be? Obviously, there'll be no crowd. There'll be not many people in attendance. How do you imagine it to be without the crowd and the fans?
Man, I think that that's one of those things I can't control. I don't care. Who's there. Obviously it's cool to knock somebody out or beat somebody and hear the roar of the crowd or whatever. But at the end of the day, that paycheck's gonna get deposited on Monday just the same. So, I just gotta go out there, do my job, get paid, and we're going on vacation when I get home.
Nice. Okay. Well, hopefully it won't be too long till we see you, and best of luck, obviously, if that does materialize.
Thank you so much.